The Fantasy Edge with Richard Savill and Dennis Sosic.
Hello and welcome to the Fantasy Edge. I guess it's Happy Halloween, but when you be listening to this podcast, it won't be Halloween anymore, but it's Halloween for us still. I'm Richard Savill of FantasySixPack.net, and joining me shortly, Dennis Sosic, also of FantasySixPack.net. How are you, everybody? It's great to have you back. And I guess it only seems appropriate that I forgot to do this last week, and so we got to bring in Dennis with his normal famous intro. There he is. Hi, Dennis. How you doing, man?
Hey, Richard.
Forgot to do that last week.
I know. I was disappointed. I thought I did something to you.
Yeah.
Took me off. I'm just joking.
I know. I know. Yeah, that's kind of your theme. Like, Dennis has kind of got his one. It's kind of like a secret agent kind of thing. He's got
secret agent.
Yeah, he didn't provide us. Davis didn't provide us with Peng's picks this week. I looked around for it. You know what? I got to remind him. I forget to remind him. That's the problem.
Shouldn't have to. It's all right. We'll work around them. It's fine.
I know, but I look so forward to his Peng's pick. So I mean, it breaks up the show a little bit, But
yeah.
But I guess we really don't have much. We shouldn't.
Show today is crowded, so we must move quick.
I know it is crowded again. So we gotta move. We really have to move on with the show. We got lots of news to talk about. We got the fantasy waiver rankings to talk about. Week 9 coming up. Lots of teams on bye. I think I'll talk about that first. That's kind of it's not news, but it's something we got to talk about because after this weekend, the Browns are playing right now against the Bengals. They're going to be off next week. The Cowboys are off. The Broncos are off. The Giants are off. The Steelers are off. And the 49ers are off. So you got, this is the I think it's the second biggest one, and the next biggest one is in week 14. I mean, just before the playoffs, you're going to have 6, you're trying to make the playoffs, and there's going to be 6 teams off.
Right. NFL didn't do fantasy managers any favors with those bye weeks.
Oh, weeks 9 and 14.
Week 14. Oh my, week 14 is going to be a hassle to try to get a lineup when you're trying to win your playoff spot.
Well, I don't know.
It's kind of rough too.
Week 14, I don't know. There's not a lot of great fantasy upside here. It's the Falcons, Bears, Packers, Colts, Saints, and Commanders. So, I mean, there's some, but not as big as like week 9 is. Well, I mean, the 49ers especially, and Cowboys, and the Browns, you missed Chubb, right? And the Broncos, you kind of missed, with the Broncos, you missed somebody, Mike Boone.
Defense. The defense.
The Giants, is Saquon, and the Steelers, you're not missing anybody.
Nobody.
Steelers,
No, you're not missing the Steelers. Right? You're glad they're on bye. You don't have to make that lineup decision every week.
No, you can sit Najee.
Yeah, he's. Did you see the replays of the play that he had when he got a little dump pass on the middle of the field, and he had a wide open first down, and he kind of danced around and lost the first opportunity to get a first down. I don't know if you saw that. It's all over Twitter now, but there's something I was watching with the family and friends yesterday. We were screaming at the TV when we saw that. What is he doing? He's just dancing, going east and west instead of north and south, and he lost the opportunity to get a first. I mean, they were going to lose anyways. It didn't have no bearing on the game, but it's just the point that's typical Najee Harris right now. He's a big boy, and he doesn't want to go through people. He wants to dance around them. Wants to jump over them or dance around them, one of the two. It's kind of ridiculous.
Jaylen Warren, he looked a little bit more serious, when we put it that way.
Right, yeah. He looked actually the better back.
But he's not a guy you want to pick up. You're not going to pick up Jaylen Warren. I mean, just to trade. Well, I guess you could. I don't know. Well, I guess you have to think about what Mike Tomlin is going to, retool during the bye week. I guess maybe you can think that way. But there's other guys to get that that you need for week 9 that you kind of put that on the back burner because they're off this week. So there's, I don't know,
Right.
it depends on where you stand in your league, I guess.
Yeah, how deep your rosters are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a good stash to have if you have the roster spot because Najee's not looking good, and if he gets hurt, Warren's, it could be a nice, flex spot or maybe an RB2 if in deeper leagues because he'll get fed the ball. There's no one else there besides the ball besides those two. So if Najee falls in the doghouse or gets hurt, then Warren could be a potential league winner toward the end of the year if you're still in it with Najee Harris, you're starting running back. But I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
He looks like crap.
Well, I wouldn't say crap, but I mean, I think it's the line more than anything,
It's part of it.
Show
Yeah,
today is crowded, so we must move quick.
Right. Yes.
Is it a sign or something? Or?
Yeah, it's just kind of, we get the hint. Rashad Bateman, out for a few weeks, Dennis. It doesn't matter. I mean, I guess it matters to people who own him, but he hasn't really shown up when he's been in there really a whole lot this year. I can get the
first
stats
2
up.
weeks he scored touchdowns. He scored the first 2 weeks, and then
What have you done for me?
Right, of course. Of course, I played him because he returned. I figured he would at least contribute in some places. I have other guys on bye, so I put him in line. He gave me a big fat 0, which
I got a big fat 0 too.
Yeah, I would have lost probably without him anyways, but just a point. Maybe hate seeing that fat 0 there in your lineup. But yeah, I mean, his with that offense, I don't think it really matters. I mean, Duvernay is actually playing very well, and I wouldn't be surprised if they pick up someone in his trade line, coming tomorrow. I would not be surprised if they grab someone, or Brandon Cooks maybe, or who knows. But
Duvernay's the better own. Duvernay is the better own. But you know what? I think if the season started again, I would just avoid everybody except Mark Andrews. But although I will say Mark Andrews kind of did the same thing to everyone. This is going back to Thursday now. He came back and he wasn't completely 100% healthy, and he went out early.
Right.
He was
he had a couple good plays, and then he hurt his shoulder, and then he was out for the rest of the game. That kind of hurt as well. Obviously, that hurt me and our league we had together. But I mean, obviously you can't control that, so hopefully he'll be okay with after they got a bye in week 10, so maybe they hold him on another week and give him another week of rest. But I wouldn't blame them for doing that. They worry about more with.
They might do that. They got New Orleans next, so I don't know. We'll have to see what the injury report says on Wednesday. The first, that's kind of the first one where you get the first indications of where things stand. But Bateman, he's missed 2 games already. He missed the Cincinnati game, missed the Giants game. So he's fallen out of favor. I think Duvernay is when it comes to receivers, I mean, after Mark Andrews, it's really the guy to own is Duvernay. So, period. Hey, moving right along here. So
injury.
Yeah, Gus Edwards. Day-to-day with hamstring. More Ravens, eh?
Right. Scary.
So, really, Gus Edwards has been quite an effective back for them. They must be happy about his. People owning him must be happy about his production. So this is kind of a blow, really. I mean, not knowing whether you can start Edwards during this big bye week coming up. So, don't know.
Yeah, it kind of puts you in limbo because, I mean, I was kind of surprised to see Kenny Drake play a lot at the beginning of that game, and then Edwards came in. He looked great when he was averaging about 6 yards a carry. And then he had that one long run, and then maybe you heard it before that, but it looked like he was obviously favoring something, and they took him out of the game. I'm like, oh, crap, here we go. And then we know he had a hamstring, and now the hamstring's not something you want to mess around with, so hopefully he's okay. And they may do the same thing with him and hold him out this week and put through the bye, and then hopefully after the bye week he comes back.
What was he originally on IR for?
They had an ACL.
Right.
ACL.
Okay.
Yeah, beginning of last year. Yeah. So, I mean, I think he was, they say he's fine. It was not just a tweak of the hamstring, but anything we do with hamstrings, that's a problem. So hopefully he'll be okay to get back soon.
Okay.
Injury.
This is kind of a big one, but it doesn't seem to be too much concern with people as Cooper Kupp. Ankle sprain. Not the latest news has him. What's the deal with him in that latest news? I just saw it. Swelling, no structural damage in his ankle. He anticipates him playing against the Buccaneers. But anytime you have an ankle sprain, and I think he didn't have a very good game against the 49ers, so they might be easing him in slow.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been out there either. They were getting their butts handed to him, and he's out there. They were down by like 18 points or something like that, and why is he even out there? It doesn't make sense for him to even be on the field.
Yeah, not really.
They're lucky. I mean, there's very lucky that's all it was a minor ankle sprain. It could have been a lot worse.
Could have been. This is not an injury, but it's kind of important. PJ Walker, he's going to continue to start, although Sam Darnold will be activated soon. Maybe this week. I say why not? The kid's doing good, doing well.
Yeah, he's playing pretty good. He's playing well. I mean, he's doing a lot better than Mayfield was, and Darnold, he's should be a career backup for from this point forward. But I mean, Walker's playing well. You gotta give him credit. He's threw for 300 yards yesterday, and they kind of bit the bullet against Atlanta, but they stayed with them, and it was a pretty good game for what I watched. But Walker seems like an obvious selection to be a starter the rest of the year.
Yeah, well, it doesn't hurt when you got that beast out there. Donta Foreman is just killing it out there. He's just...
Oh, yeah, he looked awesome.
I know.
He looked awesome. I grab him last week.
One of the announcers on... I mean, I happened to catch some of the commentary from the guys in the booth there. They're saying he looks like Derrick Henry, and he does. I mean, I noticed that when he was playing for the Titans. I thought, gee, he's got a build. He should build like Henry is.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, he has that aggressive type of running. I mean, that kind of susceptible to injury, but still, I mean, he punishes people out there. So and he was just knocking people over everywhere on that field. It was fun watching him play running back.
He's a big man. He's only like 26, 27, I think, 27. So.
Yeah, he was good coming out of college, and then he had a torn ACL.
Yeah,
and he bounced around a little bit. Then he came back, backed up McCaffrey and did very well when McCaffrey was out, and then so. Yeah,
I remember that he started out with Houston. There was a hype train for him going back in the time, right. Back in those days. When he started out with Houston, but then he got hurt, and then there was all this sort of thing. Then he got bounced around.
Yeah, he bounced around. Yep, exactly. Now it looks like he's healthy, and I mean, what happens next week when Chuba Hubbard comes back? What do they do? Mm-hmm. I mean, they say that Hubbard's going to play next week. Do they do a timeshare? Because without Hubbard, Foreman got all the carriers, and he was looking tremendous. So to do a timeshare now, I mean, that's something you got to worry about if you're a Foreman owner.
Yeah.
But hopefully they don't, because I picked up Foreman a couple of leagues, and he kind of won me a couple of weeks. So
good luck. Good for you.
Yeah, I was lucky. And everything else I got my butt kicked. There was a couple of leagues that I did well.
Injury.
Irv Smith, do we care? High ankle sprain. He's just one of those. I guess if you're streaming tight ends, you need a tight end. Kind of burns you because you couldn't. He's not one of the teams that is off this week, so they just had their bye, so he's off, and you can't use him in the bye week. So I guess that's the only downside there.
I guess his timer doesn't. I mean, he's not been very impressive this year. I'm not really worried about losing him if I lost him. Chop him, pick up another one.
Yep, exactly. Kadarius Toney. This is what's kind of this has caused a little bit of fantasy buzz during this week. Andy Reid though says it'll be a gradual process for working him into the offense. And you know what? I believe that. Andy Reid is like that. He doesn't throw guys in there like right away. I've not seen it happen too often with him, so I kind of believe it that Kadarius Toney, they'll work him in like gradually. Yeah, I don't know how gradual that would be, but
right. Yeah, I mean, we talked about every week about how many different weapons they have there. He just adds to the mix, adds more to the the variability of that offense, and now you're going to have another receiver to the mix of those weapons that they have. If you start one, it makes it kind of hard to rely on any of those, any confidence, So, I mean, he's going to be one of those kind of gadget players, I think. If he, it's someone you should pick up if he's available.
Yeah.
Because he could blow up, and then if he does, it's great. If not, then he's a good person to leave on your bench until you need him, maybe.
I mean, you got to pick up any new toy for Patrick Mahomes. You got to pick him up, right?
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. Yep.
So he's kind of a cool pickup. I mean, if you can get him. I mean,
Right.
Injury.
Mark Ingram, MCL sprain, out 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know if that really matters, especially with Kamara. Kamara looked freaking awesome yesterday.
Yeah.
Holy crap! And he was scoring 3 touchdowns, had like 9 catches, almost 100 yards receiving. He looked like his old self, and he was dancing around the field all game. He looked awesome.
Yeah. How bad are the Raiders, man?
Oh my God! How do you get shut up by the Saints, who couldn't stop anybody for weeks? All of a sudden now, I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, I think Devontae Adams sick all week, and he tried to play it out, and he didn't produce anything.
You know what? That's just an excuse. I think I really think you can play through having a little bit of a. I mean, maybe it affected him, but I mean, he's still out there. I mean, considering what else happened with like Derek Carr, I think Derek Carr is going to be fighting for his job these next upcoming weeks. Really.
Yeah, he looked horrible. I don't know what happened with them yesterday. I mean, it could have been Saints defense wasn't that forceful out there, and they've been crappy all year. And all of a sudden, the Raiders go against them, and they look like the Bears of old. That makes sense. I understand that whole game at all.
I mean, it is
That's
tough.
One of those fluky things.
It's tough to play in the Superdome because the crowd there go nuts about stuff, but still, I mean, like you say, the Saints aren't all that.
No,
but for them to put up a shutout, I guess we can't. Yeah. We shouldn't sell the Saints too short. I guess. I mean, maybe they have picked. Every dog has its day, right? And the defense,
I guess so, right?
the defense gelled together and pulled it together. But I'm not so sure about that. But I don't want to sell them short. I mean, congrats to them for because shutouts are hard to get in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And
give them credit.
Yeah, so they deserve some credit there. So but Mark Ingram,
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that, but doesn't affect team fantasy wise.
Okay. A couple other newsy bits that I put in here. This makes it tougher for the waivers, doesn't it? But anyways, Elijah Moore asked about his chemistry with Zach Wilson. Moore said, "I don't know. I don't get the ball," and he doesn't. He doesn't get the ball. He doesn't get the ball from him. Nobody does. Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is no good. He's like when we had Joe Flacco in there, you're thinking, good. This is what we like to see from the Jets. Is that everybody's active. There's you Garrett Wilson, everybody's interacting. Corey Davis, they're all in there. Okay, they lost Breece Hall, but so what? I mean, there's still more. But Zach Wilson, I don't know. He's not good. He's not.
Yeah, he's not good at all. I mean, he's running an offense, but Elijah Moore, he's becoming sort of a trouble child in that Jets team. I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone by trade deadline tomorrow. So I think they don't want to hear his crap anymore.
Hey, that's tomorrow already. It's tomorrow. Yeah, that's a good thing to mention to people. Is that when you hear this podcast, all what we're talking about might be a lot changed.
Right.
But but the trade deadline is never usually as large. It is sometimes you, like last year, I think it was a couple of linemen moved here and there, and it wasn't so I don't know. It's very seldom you see it's not like the NHL or the NBA.
It's true. You never know. I mean, I think this could change. Hopefully, to see some players move. I mean, I think the Browns are going to make some moves. Kareem Hunt will probably be gone. And who knows? I mean, Brandon Cooks will probably be traded from Houston. So there's some players out there that could make have some fantasy impact on the team. Yeah. They get in the right position.
But according to Jerry Jones, Ezekiel Elliott isn't going anywhere. He's still the lead back there. They could make be open to offers for him. Don't you think they could really get somebody for him? They've already got a great defense. They could get. I don't know. They could get more help up front. Like for pass defenders.
It could. He makes too much money though. That's the problem.
That's the problem. See, they gave him. See, that's the problem with Jones. They gave him that big contract. Now they can't get rid of him.
Right. Exactly. They're kind of forced to use him because when we saw Pollard yesterday, he looked freaking unstoppable. He had some big runs. He had 3 touchdowns. He looked great offense role. I mean, that offense was on fire, and it's because there's game-breaking ability. And Elliott, he's like a plotter now. He should be as a backup, maybe a goal line back now, and that's about it.
He's a good back, and he can still put up numbers, but he's not the Zeke with the first down sign anymore.
No, definitely not. No, he's lost that. He has that wear in his tires right now.
Yeah. He doesn't do that anymore because he knows that he
doesn't get that many first downs either.
No, he doesn't get no.
That's part of it.
I don't know, but he can break a big one here and there. But it is Pollard who's the clearly the better option in the backfield there. But Jones says he's still the lead back, so Jones. The Cowboy. He'll never sell the Cowboys, and the Cowboys, they got the Landry curse going on there. So Cowboys haven't done anything since Landry died.
Yeah. He thinks he's knows everything about football, and tries to make moves and stuff, and he's just killing the team. It's sad to watch.
That was the big thing, and Cowboys fans always remember about Landry getting fired. But they didn't mind because, while Landry was still alive, they won Super Bowls and everything. As soon as Landry died, Super Bowls and playoffs had all dried up.
Yeah, well, he won some. John.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he won. And Aiken was there, but after that, it was over. So.
Yeah.
But that was why I was because they were so bad for Saul, and they had a bunch of draft picks. They had Aikman and Emmett and Irvin. Those guys, that team was phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
Jimmy left that was it. He pissed off Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy was like, "I'm out of here." And they were friends too. They grew up together and stuff. Played college together in Arkansas. And then he became, a jerk, and Jimmy was like, "I'm done. I'm not dealing with this anymore." So
I think Barry Switzer. I don't think Barry Switzer and Jerry Jones got along. I don't know.
No, I don't think so either. They're just more of a splash of a name to get on there, and he inherited all those guys from Jimmy Johnson, so he wouldn't have to do too much besides say, "Go, here's the ball, go play," kind of thing, So
yeah,
it's kind of hard not to win with that.
He didn't stay long there after they won the Super Bowl. All right, we gotta move along. Don't play the thing. We know we gotta move along with the show. We'll start with the quarterbacks. Number one, Fantasy Pros. These are the Fantasy Pros Week 9 waiver ranks, hot off the wire. I got these almost, because these are really up to date, because I got these right just before we went on the show. So these are pretty up to date for the podcast. And starting off at number one is Justin Fields. I think he's a good pickup now. He's starting to look better. I think Justin Fields is a guy you want to own.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised he's only owned in 34% of leagues. I mean,
well,
right now he's right now quarterback 11 for the first 8 games and quarterback 2 from the last 4 games. So I mean, if you're hurting at quarterback, like if you have like Brady or somebody that's even Rodgers is playing like crap right now, and you need a quarterback, why don't you grab Fields? Use him or at least stash him so you can use him down the road for different matchups or stuff. There's no reason why he's only 34% owned. Doesn't make sense. If he's in one of my leagues, I'd be shocked because in my leagues he's taken every league I'm in. So either by me or he was grabbed a long time ago.
His last 4 games, as you mentioned, finishes QB 13, QB 8, and a pair of QB 5s. So, and they play Miami this week. So Miami likes that open game, as we know. Tua is another story. I mean, he's got those weapons and he's using them, boy. I tell you, Waddle and Hill are just monsters out there.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're putting up some massive fantasy points. It's ridiculous. Hill's like on pace to break like a bunch of records, like Calvin Johnson's yardage record, and everything else. And that's one thing I got wrong. I didn't think he was going to do that great in Miami, but I totally whiffed on that one. I mean, he would do well, but I think he would do a lot worse out of Kansas City. But
I didn't think Tua could support 2 1,000 plus receivers, but looks like that's in the can. Yeah, he can support 2 1,000 plus receivers quite easily, as it turns out.
Right.
So, and I don't know, and look at Mahomes. I don't think he can support 1 this year.
No, I mean, that's the kind of different offense they have now. I mean, they were talking about they have all those different kinds of weapons, so they just go to whoever's open. Justin Watson scores, Juju will score 1 week, and MVS will do well, and Kelsey does it every week. So, but different receivers score every week, and now you had Tony in the mix. Who knows? And then there's rumors that they're looking at Brandon Cooks as well. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, if that's how true that is, but another weapon to the mix. I mean, that's why you can't. I mean, you have to play those receivers, but they're not going to be your top two, maybe a third receiver or a flex because you never know what's going to happen week to week. But you don't want to be the time that you don't play them when that's when they score 2 touchdowns like Juju did 2 weeks ago. But you take the chance that next week he'll do nothing. So it's par for the course in that, especially now that offense has so many weapons there.
Same usual names we see on here. Marcus Mariota, he's on the list always every week somewhere number 1, number 2, number 3. He's usually in the top 3, 4, 5. Garoppolo's always in there. You know what? This name is cropping up a lot and I say don't stash Deshaun Watson. The season's lost for the Browns. Well, I mean, it depends on what happens tonight. I mean, but the Browns have a really horrible schedule coming up, and you would know that.
Yeah,
So,
I wouldn't rely on any Browns except for Chubb right now, and maybe Cooper to a certain extent, but that's about it. I wouldn't touch any of those. I wouldn't touch Watson.
The last thing the Browns are going to do is run out Watson in a losing season. I mean, if they're out of the playoffs or the playoffs is, they're only mathematically in it by the time Watson comes out of suspension. So
yeah, I don't think they will be, but you never know. I don't think. Well, knowing that's the Browns, they probably would shoot him out there, but if they were smart, they would even waste them this year's paper set the rest of the year, and let's kick Garrett up for next year and beyond.
Exactly.
I think they want to get their money out of him, so I think they may play him. It's kind of foolish.
Yeah, do not stash Deshaun Watson, folks. Do not. Andy Dalton, yeah, he's a bye week fill. Heineke, same thing. I can't even remember if he's one that's 6 teams. It's hard for me to remember all those things, all these teams. But I have to look at the bye list here. They are not off this week. That's right. They're off on week 14. So Heineke, yeah. Well, I don't know.
He's been a top 10 quarterback over the last 3 weeks. I mean, surprisingly enough.
Really?
Yeah. He's producing. Like I say, it's a bye week filling, but he's producing. I wouldn't be surprised if when Wentz comes back, then maybe he's not starting because they're playing well with Heineke there. Even Andy Dalton. I mean, they decided to play him over Winston, and Winston's healthy now, and they're still not putting him up there. And Dalton's throwing some numbers. A lot of it's garbage time, but still counts in fantasy. Doesn't matter, So and he has the weapons. And, he has Olave, of course, Kamara. So I mean, if those guys stay healthy, he can produce some numbers there for you as a bye-week fill-in.
The pros still think Desmond Ridder they've got him hanging on the list. He's right at the bottom at QB8, ahead of Malik Willis. Malik Willis, he needs some work.
Yeah, he looked pretty bad.
He needs work, that boy.
They're lucky they're playing the Texans. Otherwise, they would have lost because Texans couldn't produce anything on offense.
Titans defense was good.
All they had was right. I mean, they had Henry. Henry was doing all the work. Henry was just doing his normal Derrick Henry bulldozing, get out of my way, kind of running, and he was unstoppable. I mean, he always does well against Houston. So most backs do, but he has a track record of like 200 yards every time he plays almost, and they didn't need Willis to do anything else, and he didn't do much anyway, so it really didn't matter. So a notable omission here is, of course, no, the Colts aren't off this week. The Colts are week 14, but we don't see Sam Ellinger on here. Have the first word on him. Yeah, I don't know if he didn't play horrible, but he also didn't make mistakes, but he really didn't help you fantasy wise. I mean, threw for 200 yards, but didn't do much to contribute to them getting competitive in that game against Washington. I think it's something I don't know what they're going to do, but and then now if Jonathan Taylor's hurt still. I mean, he came back in, but he hurt his ankle again. So I mean, that's another issue, and it's hurting those weapons. Michael Pittman's not producing, and Pierce has went downhill since Ryan's gone downhill as well. So I mean, I don't know what they're going to do there. You may see the end of Frank Reich over there as well. I mean, he may be on his way out. What really you think? Yeah, I think so. He's kind of wore out his welcome a little bit, maybe. Maybe, but only 23 pass attempts and completed 17. So that's if you've got Pittman and Pierce and Paris Campbell, that's you can't get much for that. But it's one game. It's his first game. Finished QB 26. So Sam Ellinger, he's.
He's still in a way. Well, he can't be any worse than Matt Ryan, to be honest. So
Yeah,
I mean,
true. That's true. The way Ryan was playing lately, yeah, I agree with that. That's maybe he'll grow into it, and maybe they're just going to see what he can or cannot do, and then make a decision after the season. What they're going to do with that position.
they might have just made it like let's keep it simple for this game, and then we'll work on something a little more interesting next. Perhaps I don't know.
Maybe.
But the decisions for the Colts at quarterback over since Reich has been there. Honestly. I mean, it's actually, they really haven't had anything exciting since Andrew Luck, really.
Right. Yeah, they tried everything. They tried, Reich tried his buddy Wentz, and Wentz he played okay, but he kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way in that organization. So they were glad to get rid of him. So they brought Matt Ryan in, figuring that a veteran would be able to stabilize that offense, and he's definitely on the downhill of his career.
I think one thing, how you mentioned that Frank Reich might be out, and I do know that I kind of read this as a side story, is that Snyder was at the game, and Snyder and Irsay hate each other. Right?
A lot of people hate Snyder. So.
And a lot of people hate. I know a lot of people hate Snyder, but
he's an a-hole.
But Irsay especially, and Snyder was at the game, and the Commanders won. So that doesn't help Reich.
Right, that's true.
I don't know how these big bosses think, but maybe they don't think about it at all. I don't know. But Irsay is kind of to be honest, I don't like the Irsay family either. To be honest,
why is that?
I don't know. I just find they moved. I think they moved the Colts from Baltimore, and that was kind of stuck with me throughout the years.
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
And I mean, it's kind of feel like how the Browns moved to what you have actually is the new Browns, the real Browns. The real Browns are in Baltimore now.
Exactly.
And the real Colts are in Indianapolis. So, I mean, if you want to think like that, right?
No, that's true. I mean, it was one of the worst experiences to deal with as a diehard Browns fan, that they have the Browns here in Cleveland. I can never forgive Modell for doing it. And there was a lot of backstory to it, but bottom is that he did it and he moved on. And
I won a new stadium. That was the big thing, if I remember.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he used that as an excuse, but money talks, and he went where the money was. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and so you were able to keep the Browns name, and they had to use the Ravens and all that. But anyways, so we can't really dwell on that too much because
Show today is crowded, so we must move quick.
And that's why we can't dwell on these fun, interesting topics. Let's move along to running backs and Tyler Algier. Nobody gets the name right, but all right. I don't think he did that great this weekend, to be honest.
No, I mean, rushing wise, he did it. I think he averaged less than 3 yards a carry, but he scored on a passing pass play.
Scoring's good.
I mean, he's just a placeholder until Patterson gets back. So if he needed a play, I believe they're playing the Chargers this week, and Chargers run defense is horrible. So it may not be a bad idea to pick him up for this week. But if you're needing with all those teams on bye, you may need him, like Chubb or somebody's on bye as a short-term fill-in. That's not a bad idea, but he's not going to somebody you're going to be able to keep the rest of the year and depend on. That's true.
Yeah, and you don't really want the big bruiser guy who's behind him. Caleb Huntley, I believe the name is.
Yeah, Huntley, yeah. I mean, he's just...
he's a north-south back.
Right.
Good for some things.
Good goal line, short yardage.
Yeah.
That's about it.
But in Algier's defense, he did finish RB12, pending the result of tonight's game. He'll probably be with Chubb and Mixon out there. He'll probably finish RB14. So
yeah, probably. Yeah.
So, anyways, Rachaad White, he looked pretty good for the that was the Thursday night game. My memory serves me well. Actually, when he was out there, he looked okay, but
yeah, he did.
But I don't think you can in fantasy. It's hard to support him as more than a handcuff to Fournette, though.
Right, I agree. It's somebody you should, if you have the roster space, definitely to stash him, because Fournette's not looking good at all. He's looking like his tires a little worn out there.
A little.
And, their offensive line looking good, but White kind of makes up for me as a little pep in his step, and and he catches the ball well out of the backfield, so it's something that you should be able to pick up, and especially if you're in Dynasty leagues, he's going to be already taken, but if he's somehow available, I pick him up. He's just a stash. I'm going to see what happens.
All right. Isaiah Pacheco, I think you can still pick him up, but this committee that's going on right now with the Chiefs it's a bit frustrating. I mean, you can don't know what to say about Pacheco now. I mean, you kind of got me on the hype train about him, and I was on the hype train with him, and I was completely right on with him. But then I found myself picking him up and dropping him, and I saw other people picking him up and dropping him. It was getting a lot of good stuff going when the Chiefs were well ahead, and garbage time stuff, right?
Right, agreed.
But then they said he was the starter, and then everybody woo, and then there was a big whoosh to the waiver wire, and he was top pick, and then it turned out, he's the lead back of a three-headed committee with McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so we're back to where we were basically.
Exactly. Yeah, just starter in name only.
Yeah.
I mean, McKinnon is still going to get the passing game work, and Pacheco and CH will get the rushes, but you can't depend on him. I mean, if he's available, you got to pick him up because you want to have a piece of that offense. But otherwise, it would definitely not a priority for me to pick him up if he's available. I really have Algier right now with Pacheco.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I agree with the rankings here that Algier should be one. You've got Chuba Hubbard next at RB4. The way I think Foreman owns the backfield, but Hubbard's going to mix in. That's the annoying thing. Hubbard is actually just bad news, but they kind of have they don't want to overwork Foreman, right? So I can understand.
Especially when they're actually surprisingly winning their division.
Yeah,
Well,
it's actually the Falcons. The Falcons pulled it out. They pulled it out at the end. I mean, you kind of go away from that game thinking that the Carolina Panthers won because they played so well. I mean, I don't know what's going on with that team. Here we got a bad football team with players we're actually talking about again with PJ Walker. I don't know. I think PJ Walker. I know it doesn't make sense. I don't know. This whole league doesn't make sense, but here we are talking about who would have thought we'd be thinking about the Carolina Panthers after Matt Rule was fired. And then they send away Christian McCaffrey, and then and Mayfield gets hurt. I think team's in total disarray. It's just, but it's not.
No, surprisingly, I mean, you see DJ Moore had a freaking awesome game. They're just feeding him the ball, which is what we always wanted to see. And he's producing. I mean, he's probably, I think it was the number one wide receiver 5, I think, this week. Yeah. At least, somewhere in there. 150-some yards, touchdown. He looked tremendous. He had that big bomb at the end to help him seal the game or get him into overtime at least. And then, but still, that offense is weird. I worry about Hubbard taking a lot of Foreman's carries, so I think you still have to pick him up because you can make an impact, but I'm not sure in a timeshare how much of an impact he really make. I think you still have to pick him up, but I don't think it'd be a priority. Actually, the player that would be a priority for me, actually be the next person on the list, is Kenny and Drake. Yeah, Kenny and Drake would be the one I would shoot for first, even probably actually ahead of Algier because of what's going on with their running back room with Gus Edwards hurt. And Justice Hill is getting the ball, but he's not a every down back. But Kenny Drake's they love him. They feeding the ball a lot at the beginning of the game last week, and he looked good out there. I mean, he was doing something out there. He's producing. So he's somewhere I think I probably would shoot up to number 1 if I'm desperate for a back this week. Yeah, and the next guy on the list, Latavius Murray, Denver. Well, I'm kind of surprised he's still available. And I mean, these waiver ranks are players that are owned less than 50% or less in leagues. And so Latavius Murray is still out there. If he's in half the leagues out there, you gotta get this guy, obviously. Scored in the London game, Right. Yeah, he's getting a lot of the rushing work, and Gordon's getting some, but Gordon's getting all the passing work, so it's kind of game script dependent. But like I said, he's getting the ball, and he should be owned in more leagues. I mean, he's going to fall into the end zone almost like every week, it seems like, and somebody you should have should be owned in a lot more leagues, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, this game, the Denver Denver Jacksonville game in London. It was kind of on paper was kind of be like, oh, here we go. Any game with Denver in it, especially, it's not going to be that great. It turned out to be a pretty good game, and the thing is, and it was a good game. The thing is that a lot of people couldn't see it because of this ESPN Plus. Joe Bond, our fearless leader, the guy we got to talk about, right? Actually, our resident leader, Joe Bond, couldn't watch the game because it was on ESPN Plus, and he didn't have it in his package. And they charge up the wazoo for this. And and I don't know. How did you watch the game? Was it on? Did you have the package?
No, I watched it through. I had a trial period for Hulu, so I just watched it through that.
All right.
Yeah, so I just watched it through that. I didn't catch it until the second half, but I mean, it was fine. I mean, it was a good, like you said, it was a good game. It was competitive until the end, and then Russell actually looked pretty good, and they made some good play calls. Judy looked really good out there. Maybe Judy will be gone too, but I don't know. A lot of people are looking for Judy. The Giants, they definitely need a receiver to help Daniel Jones. So there's rumors about Giants asking for Judy, but that could be a bunch of BS. What you can believe anymore on the internet, But there's so many rumors going around.
And also one more side note to that is Melvin Gordon scored too.
Yeah.
Melvin Gordon.
Scary.
Yeah. So it's alive.
Right.
Okay, here we go. The Rams. A surprise happened on the Rams this weekend. We saw a guy called Ronnie Rivers first on the field for the Rams.
Who the hell is Ronnie Rivers?
Who is Ronnie Rivers? And he was he was kind of a late caused a little bit of a waiver sensation, partly by something that Matthew Berry said, and he was also trending on the Vegas money line. So it was kind of weird, but I mean, I think you got to pick up Kyron Williams. He's on IR, but he'll be activated. So I don't know what to think. Well, Matthew Berry said Ronnie Rivers is a good spec ad. I don't see Ronnie Rivers on this list.
No,
Ronnie Rivers. I picked him up.
Oh yeah,
I picked him up. I dropped off some chaff. So and picked him up. I mean, why not? The reason you could say, oh, Matthew Berry, come on, just because of what Matthew Berry says. Well, hold on. Matthew Berry works at NBC. He's got, NBC has tentacles to all the teams in the league, NBC Sports, man. He's huge. I mean, he's got access to a lot of insider info that normal folk like us don't have. So, I mean, if he says, if he thinks Ronnie Rivers is a spec ad, I mean, you kind of got to listen to that.
Yeah, I think so. I heard that name. I have no idea who that guy was when I heard
none whatsoever.
Matthew Berry. I was like, who the hell is that? I was like, what happened to Darrell Henderson? I was thinking, what happened to him? Why are they promoting Ronnie Rivers instead of just having Henderson out there? But I mean, Rivers looks like he got the ball more than Henderson did. And I watched some of that game, and I don't remember seeing Henderson that often in the game. So I don't know what was going on with that. But you said Rivers contributed. I mean, yeah, I think he had like 4 catches or something, so at least he's able to help in the backfield this and that way. But I'm not sure if I even touch Rivers. I'm not even sure if I trust Kyron Williams, because that offense is Cooper Kupp and a little bit of Al Robinson, who's actually showing that he's still alive out there. And beyond that, I mean, it's like nothing. I don't.
They got to get, but Dennis, they got to get that running game going somehow.
I know. They have to, but the offensive line is horrible. They lost too much, retiring and people getting hurt. They just lost too much in that line, and I don't think it's going to be any successful running. I don't care who they put behind there; it's not going to help them.
James Cook, always on the list here. He should be. He should be stashed everywhere. You got to keep
He looked pretty good.
Yeah, when he was in there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's just a lot of bursts out there. Yeah. And I think he took over for Zach Moss as the RB2 in that offense. And something happens to Singletary.
I don't think Moss wasn't active. I don't even think.
Yeah, he's just. I don't know. They don't like him very much. I think they're going to try to trade him if someone take him off their hands. I think they'd be glad to get rid of him. But Cook looks good. I mean, he looked very explosive. Yeah. He had that one long run on that pass. He looked like someone that I'm like, first thing I thought about when when I saw that play, I'm looking at my leagues to see if he's available in any of my leagues, so I can try to see if he's so I can target this week in waivers. So he's going to shoot up I think he's, based on the rankings they have, I think I would shoot him up probably to at least 3 or 4. I mean, he's all the way down to 8. And that's kind of low, but I guess it is a great stash.
Yep, great stash. And the rest of the other 3 guys we've talked about already, Jalen Moore and Caleb Huntley and Jarek McKinnon. So we can move on to the wide receivers now. Number 1, Rondale Moore tops the wide receiver Fantasy Pros Week 9 waiver rankings. Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
He looked good.
Yeah, he looked great. The number 2.
Yeah, he was getting the ball. I think, a lot of I was reading that he, with receivers coming back healthy now, and especially with Hopkins back, they moved Moore back in the slot where he's more comfortable, and he was feasting on them. And he got 8 targets, 7 catches, and a touchdown. I mean, he's looking like a weapon out there.
Yep.
On that team, and they need it. Because their running game's nothing right now.
Not Robbie Anderson, though.
No, definitely not.
Not Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is, although, you can say Robbie Anderson is ahead of A.J. Green, but that's not saying much, really, is it?
Not really. No, I agree with that. Yeah, I think it's Hopkins show and sprinkle in some more and some Zach Ertz, and that's about it.
Utterly fantastic catch by Hopkins for the touchdown.
Oh, that one-handed?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was phenomenal. Holy crap.
Beautiful catch. Beautiful.
Yeah, he is such a great receiver.
Poetry, right?
And he's been like, I think, the top receiver since he's been back. I mean, they just keep feeding the ball, and he's just producing out of his mind right now.
This goes to prove that there's no such thing as rust. He had that off that long reception. I mean, he was good last week, and he came in. He got 14 targets, hauled in 10 of them. He was like he'd never been. I guess some players have rust, some others don't. But he showed none of that. He is really just one of the reasons we watch NFL football. And if you stashed him all these weeks waiting, you were rewarded. You have been well rewarded, and definitely applause if you held him all that time. He's worth it.
Absolutely worth it.
They got Mooney at number 2. I was high on Mooney early in the season, but I guess with Fields having an uptick, I guess we can say that Mooney might have things might turn for the better now. I think if Mooney is out there, I think you do grab him, but he is kind of you do pick him up, but I guess you can start him, you can flex him, I guess, but I mean, you definitely got to keep him. I think he's got to be owned now.
Yeah, I think so.
Based on the fact that Fields has turned things up slightly.
Right. Yeah, and then offense is finally, gearing their play clock around Fields' assets, running the ball and, doing some lot of rollouts and stuff with Fields, so that should open up the offense a bit more for Mooney. I mean, he's not, producing game buster numbers, but he's still at 5 for 70. I mean, that's in PPR, it's
50 yards a game.
Well, yeah, it gets you something. Like you said, it's a flex option. It's not bad. Flex.
Yeah. Also, there's some other news about the Bears that came out. They traded one of their top key linebackers.
Yeah, Rekon Smith. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a big trade. So
traded the Ravens. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Ravens just they keep adding pieces. I mean, it's a smart move by them, but Smith was kind of he was holding out this preseason and wanted to move on. And he came back and played, and he's a great player, but I think he'd be a little bit of trouble in your locker room, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, but the thing is, it doesn't help the Bears on the other side of the ball. So
no,
there's kind of that.
Opens up a lot more cap space. Like they have the most cap space. That opens up more to hopefully build their on fields next year.
Romeo Doubs caught a nice touchdown last night in the losing effort against the Bills. So that was pretty good. And there was this Toure guy who caught a nice long pass, and people were saying that's the kind of thing Aaron Rodgers is looking for. He's looking for that guy who improvises. It was a very Devontae Adams-like touchdown by Toure. But that's the kind of thing. That's what Aaron Rodgers wants. He wants a guy who can do that kind of stuff, and he's not getting any of it with the current state of affairs. I mean, Sammy Watkins. He's one of the guys I dropped for Ronnie Rivers. I dropped him for Ronnie Rivers, and I'm glad I did.
That was a good.
Because Sammy Watkins
Try to hold out hope for Watkins.
There's no hope
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah,
Romeo Dobbs, you can pick him up on hoping that Green Bay, fixes things. Garrett Wilson, I don't know what he got. I think he didn't do too bad.
He had over 100 yards. They're 6 for 115.
Yeah.
I mean, there's over there's no one else to throw to. I mean, he had Wilson was playing from behind, so he was swinging it and throwing it to him and Conklin were getting all the catches. So.
Yeah. Surprised he's on this list. I mean, because I would have thought he was over 50% owned, but he's not. So
no, but after that explosion the first couple of weeks, then he did absolutely nothing for a couple of weeks in period. People had to drop him because just giving us zeros, so they had to move on. And now he's going to be picked up again after this week, but could have missed with him.
Yeah, so far I'm okay with that. I think Romeo Dobbs is a bit high on the list here, but Joshua Palmer is a guy you're going to pick up because I don't know the status of Mike Williams. We'll find out. They were on a bye this week, and Palmer was out the previous week to the bye, and now Mike Williams is out. So the Chargers, I think you want to have Josh Palmer out there, even though Josh Palmer doesn't really play that kind of position that Mike Williams does. I think they would probably shift. I think the guy more is DeAndre Carter, is probably the guy that would be more inclined to be in that spot. We don't really know. I mean, it's not. You know who it's not going to be. It's not going to be Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen will play the outside.
No.
Who
knows if he's going to even plays.
So you could put Palmer in the Williams spot, which isn't bad. He might produce in that spot, but I don't know. I think we said it on a previous podcast is that Williams is one of those guys who has been boom and bust in that. I guess is it called the Y receiver role? I never know how these things. Is it X receiver, Y receiver, Z receiver? Who knows? I keep getting them mixed up. But but Joshua Palmer might fit into that role. But so does DeAndre Carter. He's kind of an older guy that's been hanging around. He's 29, whereas Joshua Palmer's the younger buck. But I consider Joshua Palmer more he's more the fill of Keenan Allen. Like he's the understudy to Keenan Allen. Really, he's a good player. I mean, when he's in there, he's getting production. Justin Herbert is looking his way quite a bit. So I like Joshua Palmer. I think you should pick him up. I think he's definitely a waiver pickup. Nonetheless, despite of all this extracurricular thinkings on where he plays and all that stuff, but I mean the bottom line is that Mike Williams is going to be out for a while. So there's a target hole here. How they fill it up, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows if Keenan Allen's healthy or not. Hopefully he's healthy after they had their bye, so hopefully he's healthier now. And but I definitely pick up. I think I already put Palmer based on this week. I think I put him at number 2 behind Moore ahead of Mooney, just because no Mike Williams, and they're playing Atlanta this week, so that should be some easy pickings for that Chargers offense. So I think, especially with no Williams and Allen, I'm not uncertain about his health. So he's a talent. He should be owned in more leagues right now.
Yeah, he's a good player. No doubt. But yet Scantling at number 6. I would have Devin Duvernay as at 7. I would have, we talked about Devin Duvernay before. He should be higher. I agree.
Yeah.
And Scantling.
You talked about earlier.
Yeah. And Scantling with Tony coming in, who knows what's going on there.
Right.
And another thing too is they got Wan'Dale Robinson at WR8, where I do not see the Giants are off this week, so you kind of have to stash. But I right now. I think Darius Slayton is a better own than Wan'Dale Robinson. To me, oddly.
Yeah.
This is a guy, Darius Slayton. He was like, they were kind of wondering whether he was going to even make the 53. I mean, look at him now. Look at him now. I was watching. I thought, shit, this guy's a playmaker here. They lost to the Seahawks. And he was a presence on the field, right?
Yeah, he was. They were feeding the ball. They were going to him. Mm-hmm. So I think I would rather have Slayton as well. And Robinson he's kind of more of a gadget kind of player, but especially when they're they're not even going to be playing this week. I'm not sure why he's even out on the list. I think I shy away from picking him up.
Mm-hmm. Other names here. Of course, we talked about Tony. We have Alec Pierce. We talked about him a little bit. The Erlinger thing.
Yeah.
Michael Gallup, 11. Michael Gallup he wasn't really part of the big show. I think he gathered in 5 passes, but it was mostly CeeDee Lamb. Of course, it would be, but we kind of hoped a little bit more from. It's only his second game off of out of IR, so he still finished. He got 6 targets, 4 receptions, 49 yards. That's very Darnell Mooney like. But he's so it's he's still, but they're on their bye week now, so he gets a little bit of rest. So, but Gallup should be owned. Still just the same.
Yeah. Yeah, just for the upside of that offense. Yeah, he definitely should be rostered in more leagues.
Who do you want to talk about from the best of the rest of your done?
Yeah, I think Isaiah McKenzie. I think I would want to roster him too in that offense. He's getting you got a rushing touchdown last night, and in offense, there's so many weapons that you never know what's going to hit you. So I take a shot with him in my lineup. And beyond that, I do not see. Pierce Campbell, you can't trust that offense. Dotson, I'm not sure when he'll be back. They say he's coming back every week, and he's still not back. Chandler Burks, you can't trust their quarterback in Tennessee. Donovan Peoples-Jones, can't trust the quarterback in Cleveland. Sky Moore has done crap. And Jameson Williams,
who is he?
Right. He was a great weapon in college. When's he going to come back? And what kind of roles is he going to have in that Lions offense?
Yeah.
Especially with Swift. So Swift is back now. And he's going to get back into more looks. So how many opportunities is Williams going to get?
Yeah, I think you're only looking at 2 guys there. I think you're only looking at Reynolds and St. Brown. Really, those are the only 2 on the Lions that I want is St. Brown and Reynolds. Right? Yeah, I'm talking about Josh Reynolds, not the Craig Reynolds guy. So,
yeah, got to be clear. Yeah, clear.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun.
Well, he's dropped down. He's dropped down the list now that Swift is back. Swift looks good, but so does Jamal Williams. Man, shit. He's the goal. He's the goal line guy. He's the guy. He's actually the better own because he gets the goal line stuff.
Right. Yeah, I have Swift in my league, and I was excited to put him in my lineup. And then first touchdown I saw score was freaking Jamal Williams. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And then another touchdown. I'm like, crap, maybe Swift is hurt again. Yeah. And then I see just Swift doing some stuff. I'm like, oh, good. He's not hurt again. It's happy to see that.
Yeah, he's just sitting there like watching things from the side. He's sitting on the stationary bike there and watching Jamal Williams collect all those fantasy points he should be having.
Right, true. Yes.
That pretty much wraps it up. Now into, I guess, the tight end department, as usual, is never too exciting, but I am excited about the first 2, Dennis.
Agree.
Evan Engram
too.
Oh yeah, and another one too. Yeah, there's another one down for. It should be ahead of Robert Tonyan actually. Yeah, but let's talk about Evan Engram first. He scored a touchdown in London in the London game. He's frequently targeted by Trevor Lawrence. I just want to take a look at his target share. As a matter of fact, Evan Engram is a guy you got to own. Definitely own him. I have him. Evan Engram. I currently have him rest of season as TE12. I think that'll be going up this week. Finished as TE4 on the strength of a touchdown, but still 6 targets, 4 receptions, 55 yards, 1 touchdown. That's good. These days that's low. That's low tight end numbers, low TE1 numbers these days.
Right. Oh yeah. Absolutely. He's like you said, Lawrence has eyes for him. He's getting the ball a lot, and you got to take advantage of it. Why he's not owned in more leagues now? We talked the last couple of weeks that he's been at top of the rankings to pick up, and he should be rostered in more leagues right now.
And so should Dulcich.
Yeah, really. He's getting the ball every week.
I can't believe it. I don't think I have Dulcich in my rest of season rankings. He's got to be in here.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, shit. Oh, man. I don't. He's not in here. And so should Foster Moreau and Jake Ferguson. Jeez. It just goes to show you, I get behind on these things, and this is really bad. Zip. I guess I'll put him ahead of Will Disley. I'll put Daniel Bellinger. Jeez, Daniel Bellinger's injured. I'm way behind. I'm way behind on my. I better publish that too. Jeez. I fall behind on these things. And tight ends are sort of. I don't know when it comes to the tight ends. But Dulcich, getting back to the story, instead of my mishaps in rankings, Greg Dulcich, definitely guy you want. What did he get?
Right. He had 5 catches for 87 yards.
Wow.
No, 4 catches for 5 targets, 4 catches, 87 yards.
Gee, with Russell Wilson, that's pretty good.
Exactly. I mean, he was on the field. He had 80% snap percentage, so he's on the field. They're tight end 1. So I mean, he's Albert O's kind of a forgotten person there. So Dulcich just stepped up, and he's been last 2 weeks. He's been the go-to guy at tight end. So he'll definitely be one of the top tight end pickups behind Ingram. Should be.
But he's on a bye. You can't use him.
Right, true. But I think a lot of times that's the best time to pick him up because a lot of people try to avoid him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They try to ignore him because, I need someone this week. Well, that's where you're stupid and get him and roster him so you don't have to worry about the following weeks. But, so let's see if we're thinking about the same guy. The next guy, I was thinking about Isaiah Likely. Is that you were thinking about?
I was thinking of Isaiah Likely, yeah.
Yeah.
Played good in the absence of Mark Andrews, but that's the problem. He's behind Mark Andrews, and that's
right.
But in a way, when you think about it, Duvernay and Likely, and I don't know, he could be playable, even with Mark Andrews out there, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I was just going to say they probably can go to a tight end formation with Likely and Andrews out there. Another weapon for Jackson. Obviously, they have some chemistry with them, so they should get him on the field. He made some plays out there. He made a tremendous touchdown. His touchdown catch was awesome, and and Jackson was looking for him. So I think he should get a lot more playing time, and maybe they go to more 2 tight end sets. And the receiving crew there's nothing behind basically Duvernay. That's why I think they will grab someone in a trade. But I still think Likely would be someone I wouldn't want to pick up.
Anybody else on the tight end list that you fancy?
Maybe Tyler Conklin. He scored 2 touchdowns. He was just getting the ball. I mean, it's all you can really ask for out of a tight end nowadays. But anybody else, on here, Juwan Johnson, no, Harrison Bryant. I'm not sure what he's doing today in place of Njoku, but he has some talent. Logan Thomas, I don't know if I can trust that offense right now. I mean, McLaurin's looking good, and Samuel's still getting some play, but I'm not sure if I don't know if Heineke can support another weapon in that offense right now. Yeah,
no, I don't think. Well, no. Although, he looks good when he's. It's hard to say about Logan Thomas. He's the funny forgotten man in the tight end roles. So I don't know, but definitely Evan Ingram and Greg Dulcich and Isaiah Likely. Those 3 are exactly right. The guys you target this week for sure, definitely. Yeah. Whether or not, as we mentioned, bye weeks, there's some of these players that we're talking about are on byes. Well, Greg Dulcich is one of them, but other teams as well. But of the big picks this week, I like Justin Fields, Evan Ingram, Rondale Moore. I guess they kind of have the top ranks pretty much right for me. I really don't disagree with any of these of the number 1 spots. Fields 1, Algier 1, Moore 1. Would you have anybody in the number?
No,
I don't.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think the top ones across the board makes sense. Going number 2. I think I would take Mariota second, I guess, out of that list.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Just because, even threw 3 touchdowns last week, which is kind of surprising from him. And even got the ball to Kyle Pitts was even more surprising, which is good to see. But, running back, I think I would probably move up Kenny and Drake based upon what's going on in that Ravens backfield. So I think I may have moved Drake up to 2 over White and Pacheco, just because the volume that Drake gets the ball in that offense. He was kind of the go-to guy until Edwards came in, and then after Edwards left, he was getting all the looks. So I think I would prioritize Drake over everybody else besides Algier.
I think I like Rashad White at number 2.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I always liked him, but if I'm working for a short-term 1 week guy, I think I'm picking Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Stashing wise, of course, White's the most obvious pick for stash. I think I'm surprised, more teams haven't stashed him already. But I think he will be, especially after last week's showing. I think it's going to prove that he's capable of handling more of the workload. So I think there'll be more roster coming into after this one.
any one of these three. Well, Garrett Wilson, I don't count him. I mean, I would have him at number 2 in the wide receivers, but I'm surprised he's that one. He would be number 2, but excluding him, I would take any one of Mooney, Palmer, or Devin Duvernay as number 2.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yep, I agree with top 3. Yeah.
And surprisingly, I exclude Kadarius Toney. I don't know. It's hard to say. He's gonna get picked. I don't know. Could you put? I guess I could put Kadarius Toney at number 2. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. That'd be kind of my roster would have to be pretty stacked to be able to do that. I mean, if you're looking for a short-term or bye-week fill-ins, obviously you can't trust Tony yet. And we're not knowing what his role is going to be in the offense. But as a stash, I mean, yeah, definitely. But I think a lot of fantasy managers are going to want to stash him, and he's going to be prioritized a little higher than number 9 of other receivers.
Yep.
Just because like you said earlier, it's the Chiefs' offense. Everyone's going to be geared to want a piece of that, so they're going to be overexcited to get him.
Yep.
They probably overpay for him, which I'd rather have Moore or Palmer or Duvernay right now than Tony, just because of their role in the offense right now and what they can give me in this week and maybe in the following week. Tony's more of a long-term solution for your back-end wide receiver 3 or flex option.
All right. Enough of that. We got to talk about finishing the show. Thank you for joining us on the Fantasy Edge for week 9. Lots of buy pickups for you to mull over. So for Dennis Sosic, I am Richard Savill of FantasySixpack.net, and we'll see you next week on the Fantasy Edge. Thanks, everybody. Good luck.
Goodbye.